Hello, my friends. I believe this is the 8th video on the meanings of the houses, and it's our last video on equal houses, 12th house. The people who have the greatest emphasis on 12th house using equal houses, and we're up to this fellow Charles Koechlin is the next one in our list. We've talked about Valdivieso, Eddie Campbell, and Felix Guattari. Alain Deloche, we all had discussed him earlier because he's also one of the strongest considering all three house systems. Let's look at Charles Koechlin, also up among the highest. What I did is I took 16 points or higher, and these are all the people with 16 points or higher. So let's look at his chart. Here it is with equal houses. Sun, Moon, Venus, and Mars. So you've got the Sun and Moon and two inner planets all clearly in the 12th house. He was born at 9:30, way back in 1867. But Venus is 8 degrees above the ascendant. Sun is 6 degrees within the 12th house. Even if the time is 10 or 15 minutes different, he has clearly Sun, Moon, Venus, and Mars in the 12th house. He's born in Paris, France. Another person born in Paris, which is almost 49 north. The vertex is a little bit stronger. So let's go straight away and look at the vertex way up here. So let's look at the vertex. Where am I here? Settings, house system, vertex on 7th cusp. And now there's nothing in the 12th house. And these planets are now in the 10th and 11th house. So the ascendant houses are still important at the latitude of Paris. If we go to listings, planet list, planet positions list, and scroll down, we see that using our formula that we're getting more and more confident about, the vertex is 62%, ascendant's 38. That's not such a huge difference. So ascendant at 38%, it's still, it's going to be significant. And he does have that Sun, Moon, Venus, and Mars in the 12th house. That's among the strongest in the entire database. He should have some conspicuous 12th house, maybe not the most dominating thing in his life, but something where the natural law of things, maybe a religious or spiritual vision or a biological or a political, social, one of those should be a fairly obvious thread, is how I would explain it. Again, equal houses are 38%. It's not the most super dominating thing, but it's solid. His Sun and Moon are both there in equal houses. Equal houses means how we're all here together. And with equal houses, it often is more political. Like, here we are together. How should we share the planet? That's a good way of putting it. 12th house. I should have said that a long time ago. I like that phrase. 12th house with equal houses. How should we share the planet? Ooh, that I think captures the feeling of it. So that theme should run through his life. Let's see if it does. Again, maybe not directly like his most obvious thing, but whatever he does should incorporate that theme. And let's look at it. Go back to the PowerPoint. So he's a composer. He's born in Paris. He was an extreme socialist, just like Guattari. Now, interesting. Koechlin was born in 1867, Guattari in 1930, so they're not of the same generation. They're born over 60 years apart, same country, same city, but, things change in 63 years difference in their birth dates. So they're different generations, and they both are extreme socialists. How should we share the planet together? Interesting, having two people at the same latitude, the same strength. Guattari, I think, was born, slightly north of Paris. Is like 1% difference. So vertex for Koechlin is 62%, and for Guattari is 63%. Almost the same. So now So that's already interesting, supporting the idea of a concern about how do we share the planet together. And they're both extreme socialists. Koechlin was an eclectic. He also painted and he had many interests. So he wasn't just dedicated to composing. He did a lot of things. By the way, his composing was prolific. Oh my God, like dozens and dozens and dozens of pieces that he composed. So he's a busy guy, plus he's painting and has other interests. So, our theory, the equal house, 12th house, often gives a concern for everyone being given equal opportunity in a sense that all should have the freedom to fulfill their purpose. And this became an inclination for communism for these two people because of the way they understand the effects of capitalism as a greedy system that prevents others from having opportunity. So it is a result of their interpretation. So you can see how people, in certain times and places, interpret capitalism as a dog-eat-dog, greedy run thing. And then they see socialism and communism. Both of them were clearly socialists. Guattari was involved with communism more obviously than Koechlin. You also see with Guattari that he went to Brazil with their democratic revolution. So, there's also the sense of getting away from, especially with Guattari, who had Uranus rising in his vertex houses, as we remember, the freedom from oppression. So he's very inclined to an interest in democracy as well. Main point is that they're very concerned about how we share the planet together. And the 12th house goes beyond personal concerns, and the concern of both of these people is in what is universally correct. Also keep in mind, there seems to be no tendency of the 12th house to necessarily be correct. If you're listening to all this and you're thinking, oh, socialism is wrong and blah, 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 it's interesting they had these interests, but boy, were they wrong. Yeah, they might be. They might be completely wrong. Look at Badalamenti. Look at the way, we discussed in an early video with 12th house emphasis, a mafia leader, and, and the bishop, Paul Laverda, overlooking things. Over and over again, we see people with 12th house emphasis having a bit of a God complex or an arrogance about things and limited points of view. So they don't necessarily conclude the right thing. It's just the attitude, the interest, the emphasis with equal houses. How do we share the world together? Now, here's where I found at this particular website, I give the website address here, where I found an emphasis on Koechlin's 12th house with the equal houses. Koechlin had an interest in Kipling's book, The Jungle Book, and he composed pieces that were like musical renditions of a lot of the ideas in Kipling's book. So Koechlin had this very deep interest in Rudyard Kipling's book, The Jungle Series. Excuse me. So to read from this, and I put in bold the things that really amazingly reflect the 12th house emphasis. Also, it's Sun, Moon, Venus, and Mars. Am I remembering this right? Let's go to his chart wheel. Let's go back to the equal houses. Right, Sun, Moon, Venus, and Mars. And wow, this really sounds like Sun, Moon, Venus, Mars, and equal houses in the 12th house. Let's go back here. Let me read this quote. Rudyard Kipling wrote his series, The Jungle Book Stories, in the 1890s, and it grabbed the attention of Koechlin. Today we'll hear three of his, this is an introduction to a performance where the announcer is saying we're going to listen to these three pieces. So today we'll hear three of his standalone Jungle Book works in reverse order of their completion, although he worked on them over decades. This is a big interest of Koechlin. The law of the jungle is not the me first nihilism. It has come to me now. Let me interrupt here. It's the Jungle Book and the law of the jungle. Well, if I say to you, well, it's the law of the jungle, you might think, or I might think, or anybody would reasonably think, well, law of the jungle, it's like, survival of the fittest. Whoever can knock anybody else out wins. Kind of like a nihilistic view, but that's not what law of the jungle meant to Kipling and Koechlin. Excuse me. For Kipling and Koechlin, this law of the jungle is Baloo the bear as a character, laying down the governing precepts of civilization. OMG, laying down the governing precepts of civilization. Wow, how we should share the world together. The precepts, the law, the way it's supposed to be. So this character, Baloo the bear, lays down these precepts of civilization to Mowgli the man cub. It is Confucius rather than Tennyson's nature red in tooth and claw. What he's saying is that the philosophy of Koechlin and Kipling is not the survival of the fittest, red in tooth and claw, whoever can win and survive and kill its competition. No, their vision of I'll read that, precepts of civilization is a holy man's mysticism and sacrifice informs the meditation of Puran Bhagat, and then that's basically another thing about introducing the songs that Koechlin wrote these pieces. Wow, there it is. There's a driving force in Koechlin's life. And I think that's what happens when you have a stellium like Sun, Moon, Venus, Mars in equal houses in the 12th house. You're born in Paris, France, means it has about 35 to 40% strength. It's there. This is the kind of thing that happens. It just, that attitude of being interested in the precepts of civilization. Another way of saying how we share the planet together. Fascinating. So we're seeing how these things work into your life, how the attitude, the perspective that people have works into their lives. I always say, the houses and also zodiac signs don't tell us what a person does. He's a composer. It's not going to tell us what you do. It tells you how you do it. Now, it may be, however, from the research, if you start getting 6, 7 planets in a house, it seems to get so powerful that a person does end up going into, religion or medicine or something like that. But even 4 planets in only one of the 3 possible house systems, because you have midheaven houses, ascendant houses, vertex houses, in a house that's reasonably strong, makes it a theme. So we're seeing how to weight these things and see them in perspective and get a sense of what to really expect. I think it's coming together, our understanding of houses. Okay, now, that's the last of the people we have any information about. The next one is Glenn Lipman. He played football. That's American football. He was a halfback. Not soccer. That word football is so ambiguous. He was from Canada, went to college in the United States. We really don't have any biography. And again, what do we learn from this? You really have to find out about the attitude, the approach of the person. Being a football player has nothing to do with the 12th house. Nothing. But you can't tell what people do, and a superficial explanation won't reveal the houses to you. You have to see what their approach, style, philosophy, attitude is. Without that, we don't know. So, all right, and Henry Montague, the next one, he's a writer. His time is on the hour. He's born in South France, ascendant 52, vertex 48. They're almost equal strength. He supported the monarchy. He was a traditionalist. He was the opposite of Guattari and Koechlin. Interesting. Opposite. Instead of supporting these progressive alternative ideas, he supported the hierarchy. He supported the nobility, the monarchy. Now, we don't know. His time is on the hour, rounded to the hour. Maybe it's off a little bit. We have very little biography. But again, I think there's some consistency here in how do we share the world together? How was life made to be? And maybe he had a sense that we're like bees and there needs to be a queen bee and worker bees. And this is the way it's, this is the right way for us to share the planet together. I don't know. Speculation. Shouldn't speculate too much. You really have to have some very significant personal biography to get the feeling for houses and signs. Unlike aspects and midpoint structures, they're not as clearly visible in the activities of the person. And James Harley was in an accident. We have no biography about him. So that's it, my friends. I think I have, just one page of summary. Okay, we've completed 2 parts of our research on the 12th house. We've looked at the people who have the strongest 12th house overall using all 3 house systems. We've looked at the people who have the strongest 12th house with equal house. What do we conclude at this point? That the meaning, going to our second paragraph here, the meaning of the 12th house proposed earlier is confirmed. One senses deeply and intuitively what one's relationship and responsibility to the overall plan and design of life is. A God complex where one feels that one knows what is best for others and becoming even extremely abusive is one of the potential problems of the 12th house. Devotion to areas like healthcare are positive expressions of the 12th house. The equal 12th house emphasizes a sense of what the best plan for people to live together and be together is. Emphasized and an interest in social political systems is an example of this, as a sense of what the right way for people to be together and interact is. Oh, there I have the phrase, very similar to what I thought of again. How do we share the planet together? How can people be together and interact? According to natural law, how is it meant to be? There's like a meant to be. There's a way. There's a right way that bees and ants and other animals interact. There's a right way for us as well. What is it? There's strong evidence that the vertex ascendant strength formula is correct. This is one of the amazing things to me for this research. I was not expecting the results to be clear. I've always found the houses to be fuzzy, very inconsistent. Now, with this vertex ascendant formula, with this idea of the 3 houses, and looking at the super people, so far it's fitting together. And we really needed it because our friend, the cartoonist, he would not fit if we didn't have this idea about the strength of the vertex houses. Eddie Campbell, the cartoonist. Anyway, it's all fitting together. We need all of these ideas to get it to work. I wrestled with these things for the past 49 years, and they're finally coming together. And also, a planet conjunct any of the angular cusps with any of the 3 systems, including the anti-vertex is very powerful. Wow, did we ever see that with Guattari and also with San Hector Valdivielso, right? So, in several other cases as well. It's all really fitting together nicely and fitting the data. Much cleaner. I had a feeling when I made these videos, I was going to just say, houses are really fuzzy. We don't know. Let's not use them. But no, it's making sense. We'll see what happens. We'll see if this is just some kind of luck or something. We have a long way to go. We're going to look at 12th house with vertex houses and with midheaven houses, and then we go to the 11th house. It's a very detailed study, but it's revealing a lot. This is the kind of work that's needed to sort out how astrology works. Okay, my friends, next videos on houses will be, I'll probably go to vertex houses and the midheaven houses last. I've got some other videos on other topics I may make before I do that. Okay, thank you very much for participating in this. Thank you very much for being Astrology DC subscribers. God bless. Namaste.